Iran will respond with strength to attacks. Pezeshkian. U.S. does not need UK-Iran war. Trump. Additional escalations planned after attacks on Iran's oil facilities. Israeli minister. Why are water desalination plants important to the Gulf? Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian says Iran will firmly defend itself against any attacks and respond with strength. In remarks broadcast by Iranian state media, Pezeshkian said Iran seeks good relations with neighboring countries, which he described as quote, brotherly nations. However, he warned that external forces are trying to create divisions in the region. The president said that if attacks originate from the territory of other countries, Iran will respond, but such actions should not be interpreted as hostility toward those states. Pezeshkian also called on citizens to unite in defense of the country, urging people to show solidarity and support for Iran. He added that with the backing of its people, Iran would not allow any enemy to seize even a single inch of its territory. U.S. President Donald Trump has said the United States does not need British aircraft carriers in the Middle East amid the ongoing war with Iran. In a post on social media, Trump responded to reports that the United Kingdom had placed its aircraft carrier HMS Prince of Wales on high readiness for possible deployment to the region. Trump said U.S. forces no longer require additional support, adding that Washington would remember countries that join the conflict only after it is nearly over. The comments suggest growing tension between Washington and London as the conflict continues. The UK government, led by Prime Minister Keir Starmer, has allowed the United States to use certain British military bases, including RAF Fairford in Gloucestershire and the Diego Garcia base in the Indian Ocean, for what it described as limited defensive operations. However, Starmer has said Britain is not joining U.S. and Israeli offensive strikes against Iran. The conflict, which began with U.S. and Israeli attacks on Iran on February 28, has expanded across the region, with retaliatory strikes affecting several Middle Eastern countries. The war has also faced public opposition in the United Kingdom, with protests held outside the U.S. Embassy in London calling for an end to the conflict. Israel's Energy Minister Eli Cohen says the country's strikes on Iran's oil facilities mark an escalation in the ongoing war. Speaking to Radio 103, Cohen said Israel is prepared to intensify its military campaign and warned that further escalations could occur in the coming days. He added that all targets that could weaken Iran's current leadership remain under consideration. Cohen also said Israel has a clear strategy for the conflict, noting that the government hopes to achieve its military objectives within a defined timeframe. He stressed that Israel wants to avoid a situation where the region faces another round of conflict in the coming years. Water desalination plants are a vital source of drinking water across the Gulf region, where natural freshwater resources are extremely limited. Their importance has come into focus amid the ongoing regional conflict, after Bahrain reported that an Iranian drone targeted a desalination facility, while Iranian officials earlier accused the United States of striking a similar plant on the island of Qashm. Experts say desalination plants are essential for the survival of many Gulf countries because the region has an arid climate and very few freshwater rivers or lakes. Research shows that countries in the Gulf Cooperation Council, or GCC, account for about 60% of the world's desalination capacity, producing roughly 40% of the world's desalinated water through more than 400 plants. Many Gulf states depend heavily on these facilities for their daily water supply. About 42% of the United Arab Emirates' drinking water comes from desalination, while reliance reaches 90% in Kuwait, 86% in Oman, and around 70% in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is currently the world's largest producer of desalinated water, with production capacity expected to reach 8.5 million cubic meters per day. Experts warn that damage to desalination plants during conflict could create serious humanitarian and environmental consequences, potentially disrupting water supplies for millions of people across the region.